Welcome to Life It with DVD. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to tackle a little bit of a bigger subject, I guess, that, well, had popped up earlier when we had gone to a doctor's appointment and we were talking about certain things that are accepted as true by the majority of society, however, are not actually the case when you really look at every sort of situation. And it was interesting to kind of hear this admission because it really kind of highlights the grayness of our society, of our collective reality, and how so many things that we have heard or accepted as being true end up being somewhere in between the actual reality and the truth. So, the main thing we were talking about was whether it was okay for pregnant women to drink alcohol. And what they were saying was that, sure, it's not good for a pregnant woman to be drinking alcohol regularly. However, in some circumstances, if a woman needs help relaxing, for a variety of different reasons, maybe to produce breast milk or whatever, they might recommend having some wine to help relax, and this can help improve the function of being able to feed the baby. Um, and I found this absolutely fascinating because everything in my mind was saying that, well, no, why would a pregnant woman be able to drink, right? Alcohol is toxic and it's a poison to the body. Your body needs to filter it. However, on the other hand, right, we have to make sacrifices in terms of the pros versus the cons in anything that we are partaking in, and that can be everything in life, right? So, I mean, if you just look at alcohol, right? And I have talked about alcohol in the past on this channel of why I quit alcohol. Um, but this whole paradox, this grayness of some of the things that we've accepted as being true, not being, well, completely true, really can carry to so many different areas of your life. And I thought about this, of course, in terms of my perspective around alcohol and why I have stopped doing it. And it's not that this kind of grayness of whether alcohol is good or bad. I mean, first of all, you can drink alcohol for a variety of different reasons, but ultimately, moderation is the most important aspect to look at in all of this. Now, why did I quit? Well, a ton of different reasons. I want to feel mentally sharp, and drinking it made me feel slower, yeah, especially the day after. It made me, even though it did make me feel good and be able to slow down and not worry as much about certain things. At the same time, I would feel slower the next day, especially when I would want to feel alert and sharp in doing my work and all of that. However, people take it for different reasons. Some, it's better to be able to loosen up and be socially more cordial with people, as opposed to kind of, hey, being on edge and being alert and knowing what's going on and being very aware of your surroundings, right? There's there's all sorts of different ways that we can look at things, and we have to make the decision, what is our balance? Where is that fine line to figure out what works for us and what is the appropriate balance? Right? Things become quite paradoxical and not black and white where you can say, oh, all alcohol is bad for the body. or, yeah, alcohol is a great thing that we should have societally. And it's just so interesting how many things that we look at nowadays that are very black and white, where there's only two sides of it. Oh, Republican versus Democrat, or red versus blue, or where do you stand on the issue, right? Do you stand on this side or this side, right? No, right? There's a spectrum. There's a spectrum, and that spectrum is going to differ based on all of your personal perspectives, your experiences, and ultimately things are very gray. However, we need to define this gray area for ourselves to what it is in the gray, in this balance of everything that works for us. And it brings me back to the whole alcohol example, because when I heard the whole thing about, oh yes, it is actually okay in some circumstances for women to drink alcohol, during or after pregnancy. However, when I look at it for myself, have I been too strict around my own beliefs about alcohol? And as I evaluated it, I realized no, not really, because I like to feel sharp and aware and conscious of what's going on, and I don't need it to have a good time. Although there are times when, you know, it does feel where, hey, this might be a nice thing to have a glass of wine right now to relax and, to just kind of enjoy the moment, right? Maybe I don't need to worry about what's going on the next day, and having just one is enough. But if you know yourself well enough, you'll know that that can be a slippery slope. And opening that Pandora's box, opening that door for something, can actually lead to you doing more of it, because then, well, you've opened the door. So maybe you can't give yourself that much. Maybe you can't allow yourself to have more of it. And ultimately, when I look at it for myself, it's just like, well, I still don't really need it, even though the urge is still there. Even though I do think it would be probably okay in a lot of circumstances, I still don't think that, I really need it, or, you know, it needs to. I need to do it for social, cohesion or anything else. But ultimately, these are questions that we need to be asking ourselves: of what works for us, and what is the gray area in things that we're not sure about, but maybe need to be a little bit more balanced around, a little bit more accepting and open-minded to different perspectives of, well, hey, just because you believe this one thing about a certain issue doesn't mean another person is going to see it the same way. And that we need to be so harsh on them, especially when they're coming at it from a whole different perspective. Um, so ultimately, I think this is just kind of a reframing of some of the biggest ideas that we have become so culturally attuned to, dividing between one or the other, when the truth is really somewhere in between. And if we can be a little bit more open minded to that truth, we can start to open doors and ideas for ourselves that are going to work for everybody, right? Um, you'll be able to socialize better. You'll be able to communicate better with people. Everything won't be so black and black and white. When we think about things in moderation, we do things in moderation and in balance, and we live our life accordingly, with having a balance and not seeing things as so cut and dry, as it seems like the collective likes to make it appear at times. What I have found is the truth is very much somewhere in between all of that. And it's really the underlying motives, the intention behind it, the people that are steering the narrative, and that can be somebody else, but ultimately that starts inside us, and we are steering our own narrative, even if it doesn't seem like we have control of it at times. We do, but we have to become aware that we have control of that narrative, and that is how we make progress in our lives and find the balance and moderation that we are looking for, and that will be beneficial for all parts of our life to be life fit. So I hope this video helps. I know I kind of went all over the place. I'm not even sure what I will title this right now. Totally off script. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to get these ideas out there as I was thinking about them. I realized that going into paradox and things that are black and white versus gray, all these ideas, it's a very big topic, very philosophical, but ultimately these things start with us and how we look at things, and not being conditioned by all of the outside influences, but really thinking about what serves us, what has meaning to us. Are we living out somebody's purpose? Are we doing things because somebody else wanted us to do them, or are we doing them because they work for us? And there's a balance and a goodness in that, um, even if it doesn't necessarily serve other people. We, as I always say, are different people. We all are unique. We have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we need to honor those. And once again, people aren't always going to get along with one another, but opening our mind, opening our perspective to see the other side and to try to just maybe understand their balance a little bit better, or maybe it's a pitfall on their part, that or a blind spot that they can't see, but maybe it's that they choose not to see it, right? Maybe that they're aware of it, but they just, for whatever reason, their experiences have led them to a place that they don't want to see that paradox, because maybe it's dangerous to them, it threatens them, or feels like you know a protection mechanism. And their ego and their everything, every part of them is protecting them from certain ideas and certain open-mindedness, because, well, the truth hurts, right? So we need to try to get better at, and I'm not saying that this is ultimately a good thing or bad thing, it just is. But to become better people individually, right, we need to understand these things, open our minds and our perspectives to try to see this and how this can work in ourselves as well, and our own biases. So I'm rambling now. Yeah, like or subscribe if you enjoyed this. Thanks for being here. And until next time, I will talk to you later. All right, bye.